What's up, everyone? So for my writing research class, I was very interested in figuring out a way on how to measure like potential value of different draft picks in the NBA, and a way to sort of like scan for any potential draft bust even before teams can actually choose their prospect within the draft. So for every professional basketball team, drafting a prospect that can develop into a franchise all-star in the future is key to ensuring a team's success and relevancy within the league. However, no matter how good the scout department may be, uninformed draft picks could mean the difference between a future superstar like guys like Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, LeBron James, and so on, to different like not so good players like Greg Oden, Darko Milicic, and many other infamous draft busts in the NBA history. So for teams that may have already picked and wants to cut potential losses early, in my research piece right here, I have figured out several indicators that sport analysts could use that may predict a draft prospect's future value to the team. So before I even jump into my studies, I did a few background research on what the past researchers has done to figure out, like the same question that I have. And there's been a lot of very interesting findings. For example, in his article for The Ringers, author Zach Cramp discovered a moderately strong positive correlation between a rookie's average point in his first 10 NBA career games and his future career win shares. So for those of you who are not aware, win share is a very standard metric used in both the NBA and in the NCAA, and it basically is an estimate number of wins a player is expected to contribute to his team when both his offensive and defensive ability is factored in. So as suggested, the higher the win share, the better and the more valuable the player should be to the team. And if you're still skeptical about this metrics, so here's the list of the top 5 most win share holders within the NBA, and that list goes from Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Will Chamberlain, Karl Malone, LeBron James, and Michael Jordan. So they all basically like all-time Hall of Famers and all-time greats within the world of basketball. And in his article, Zach Cramp basically sums up his whole studies into one sentence: like, the worse a player's first 10 games is, the less chance he has of becoming even a productive player, let alone the star his draft position would suggest. So basically, like, the better his first 10 games average point, the better his career is expected to be. Another researchers and stat analyst by the name of Michael Watson also figured out another possible correlation that can be used to predict a rookie's performance within the NBA. So what he discovered is that he discovered a moderately strong positive correlation between an NBA's rookie player efficiency rating in the summer leagues and his future 3 years average player efficiency rating within the NBA. So as defined by Basketball Reference, PER, or player efficiency rating, sums up all a player's positive accomplishments, subtracts the negative accomplishments, and returns a per minute rating of a player's performance. So it is basically like a standardized metrics that you can use to rate a player's performance within the NBA. So the standardized benchmark is 15. So a player with a PR 15 would be considered an average player in NBA, and you can use that as a benchmark to compare different players to. For example, if a player has a PR of 21, that means he's above average and is actually a borderline all-stars. So here's a detailed table detailing all the corresponding PR and their interpretations. Please feel free to pause the video and check it out if you want more detail on this thing. So basically, to sum up Watson's point, the better the player plays in the summer league, the better he should be playing in the NBA. In almost all cases, Watson discovered that if a player has a 3-year average PR of 17 or more, they will eventually become all-stars at some point in their career. Like, look, Not almost all players become all-stars straight away within the first 2 years, but according to fighting, if they have a PER of 17 or more, they should eventually develop into superstars in the future, given that their development continues naturally and no significant injuries actually occur that can, damage their career. So drawing from these past researchers' works, I was very curious to figure out a way to measure a draft pick's potential value to a team even before the prospect actually steps onto an actual NBA court. So I was thinking to myself, can we actually detect a draft pick's potential value to the team way earlier, even when the player is still in college? So I thought it was a very interesting, area that I could venture on, and would be a very good area for me to research. So what I did is that I went onto both basketball references and sport references. I checked all of their data for the top 10 picks from all the drafts from 2005 to now, and manually download all the stats into a single Excel file. From there, I started to do a lot of number crunching and stuff like that to figure out the correlations between these 4 variables of interest. So I look into a player's college average PER, their college average win share, their career high PR in the NBA, their career average PR in the NBA, and their NBA average win share, and basically try to look for the correlations between different combinations of those variables. Comparing a player's college PR and his NBA career average PR, I figured that the coefficient of correlation, in this case the R value, comes out to be 0.53. This suggests that there exists a moderately strong positive relationship between these 2 variables. I won't go into much detail on how I did my data analysis, but it involves a lot of things like t-distribution, normal distribution, value calculating, number crunching, predicting different confidence interval and stuff like that. But the exact detail of how I did it will be explained in my journal, which I will post the link below once it gets approved. But basically, after I did my analysis, I figured out an equation that one can use to predict a draft prospect future value within the NBA, and it goes like this. A player's predicted NBA average PR is equal to 0.5205 times their college PR plus 2.2701, and you take this value and you plus or minus 7.3. This plus and minus 7.3 is our average margin of error, where we are 95% confident that a player's actual NBA average PR would fall into our prediction interval. Using Excel, I plotted players' college PER against their average career NBA PER into a single scatter plot, and as you can see here, even though the data point are kind of spread out a little bit, they still form this unidirectional mass that is clearly showing a positive relationship. So, and this pink box right here that I highlighted is called the buzz zone, and basically any players that falls into this area, this zone right here, will most likely end up becoming either an underperforming player within the NBA, or at worst even a draft bust that would be out of the league within just a few years. So basically, as our graph analysis has shown, we conclude that if a college player has a college PER of 21 or less, he'll probably become either a bust in the NBA or an underperforming player within the league. Also, if we were to rank all of the prospects into a top 10 ranking with top 10 players with the highest upper limit predicted career PER, and you simply pick them from there, as you can see in this table right here, you would have a 40% chance of drafting an All-Stars, 30% chance of getting an above average player, 10% chance of getting a rotational bench player, and only a 20% risk of getting a bust. interestingly enough, if you draft a player outside this top 10 ranking, you would only have a 16% luck of picking a future All-Star while facing a massive 48% risk of getting a draft bust. Using the same method that I outlined above, I also compare a player's college PR and his career high NBA PR together. So a career high NBA PR basically describes a player playing at his best, his peak, his prime within the NBA, and it basically shows, you know, like the highest maximum value a player could contribute to a team. So after we do all of our data crunching and things like that, we come up with a single equation that follows like this. So a player's career high PR can be predicted by taking his college PR times that by 0.6 and plus 1.6, and then you take that whole value, you give it, and then you face a margin of error of 8.5. However, despite using these different variables, we still came up with the exact same conclusion as above. There's a moderately strong positive correlation between a player's college PR and his career high PAR. In fact, the coefficient of correlation is even slightly higher than the previous one, 0.55 in fact. And also, if you were to rank prospect in the top 10 with the highest predicted career high PR with the upper limits also included, you would arrive at the exact same ranking and conclusion as above. Now, moving on to deciphering the relationship college win shares has with other variables within my studies. So after I did my usual data analysis and things like that, it's very interesting to actually discover that college win share is in fact a very poor predictor of a player's performance within the NBA. Even when a correlational test is ran against college win share and NBA win share, you know, like since they're both win share, you know, like one would expect them to be very similar and have very high connection with each other, but the correlational coefficient comes out to only 0.22. This means that there's a very weak, almost non-existential connection between the two factors. During the same test for college win share and compared to an NBA player's NBA career average PR, we get the correlation of only 0.31, which is also a highly weak connection as well. Thus, we conclude that college win share is not a very good predictor. And if you don't believe me, like if we were to rank all the players with the value generated from college win share and rank them in like order, it seems that all-stars emerge across the whole spectrum. Like there's no strong concentration of all-stars in any area. Like they are perfectly spread out across the whole listing. So it's very interesting to know that, you know, like college win share is in fact not very useful when it comes to predicting a player's future value within the NBA. Once again guys, please do remember that my studies this research is only provide a few observational indicators for scout and coaching staffs out there in professional team to consider when making decisions in the drafting process. Like I am not proposing any absolute rules and things like that, but rather just a few, you know, like interesting notes that organization could keep in mind when making their decisions. And please do remember that a majority of a player's performance in the NBA is still highly determined by other factors beyond what he has done at the collegiate level. And you know, like since there are so many influences that can determine how a draft prospect is going to perform long term in the NBA career, to arrive at a better indicators to scan for any potential bust and measure a draft prospect's future value within the league, more research should be done on this subject. That's it for me today. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll I'll see you guys sometime soon with more cool data analytics video. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please leave a like and remember to subscribe.